All right, welcome to the Town Council meeting of the Town of Southwest Ranches. If we can please call the roll.
Mayor Bright Cruz,
Here.
Vice Mayor Jablonski,
Here.
Councilmember Albritton,
Present.
Councilmember Hartman, Councilmember
I did get a call from him. He should be here in about 3 or 4 minutes.
okay, Councilmember Kaczynski.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. If you please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, I know. I know. I just saw that. All right, very good. Welcome, everyone. Good to see you all here this evening. We would like to start out with a presentation on our strategic plan.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, Daniel Rosemond with ETW Consulting Services. We have a fairly brief presentation. Being mindful of your agenda, we wanted to share this with you. This is not the final report. This is kind of a high-level overview of what our findings were in terms of the work that we've been doing over the past couple of months. So if we can have the presentation pulled up. With me is my colleague, Jim Lee. And this strategic plan covers the 5-year period of 2026 to 2031. So as we go through this presentation, some of the high points that we want to talk about really are the fact that we have not necessarily deviated from what the town has done previously with respect to strategic planning, but this is really, if you want to think about it this way, is putting a finer point on some of the measurable outcomes that you would want to see. So in this presentation, we're going to cover 4 basic areas. First, the scope of work that we were engaged to cover. We wanted to facilitate a participatory and inclusive process, which included both internal and external stakeholders. We were reviewing data that had been accumulated previous to our engagement. And then the outcome is the creation of a comprehensive strategic plan. As I mentioned, that report will be forthcoming after this evening. Part of what we utilize is key data, the town values and vision, the administration's mission statement, input from the community through various venues, and strategic goals from staff. Formulating all of that is the generation of recommendations that you'll see toward the end of the presentation, which highlights projects, town service enhancements, and requesting overall commitment to the plan. And in our presentation, we also talk about the implementation process, outcomes to be expected, and how the strategic plan incorporates with your overall budget cycle. As you all know, strategic planning is really relative to how you are funding, and it should inform your budgetary process. So we also will be talking about the reporting method and predictable outcomes as a result of these recommendations. Napoleon Hill said this, plan your work and work your plan. And I think that that encapsulates really the sentiment of what we want to share with you all this evening. The town of Southwest Ranches has been immensely successful, and one of the things that is an important component of your success is the cohesiveness of this governing body. And so I think that our observation and our work in terms of the strategic planning effort is really to, again, put a finer point on some of the specific outcomes that you all would want to see. Our process involved several key milestones. We started with a kickoff March 23rd with our strategic planning committee. As you all know, we had the town council visioning retreat on Saturday, April the 4th. Internally, Jim and I were working with staff to collect document, reviewing and validating previously collected data. We revisited the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges for the town. Those were conversations that we had during the visioning retreat. About a month ago, we had the town hall community engagement portion of it. followed by the resident questionnaire, which you all saw through various outlets that was sent to residents in the town. We also had 2 opportunities for advisory board members to have virtual meetings. The outcome of this is strategic goals and key performance indicators from the departments. We have been having bi-weekly meetings with the strategic planning committee to really talk through the process and really help the team really think strategically in terms of the things that we were putting together and how we were assembling the structure of what we are sharing with you all this evening. So you all have seen this because we worked through this during our visioning session, the town's vision statement, where we revisited this statement, which is to remain a uniquely rural, equestrian, environmentally protected community where open space, low density living, and natural habitats are preserved for current and future generations. This vision statement is rooted in the town's values, which is its low millage rate, the equestrian and rural lifestyle, and really an overall live and let live environment. That's essentially what's core to the town of Southwest Ranches. We also, during the visioning retreat, took another look at the mission statement, and you're going to see some refinements in this statement based upon feedback and input. And that is to safeguard the town's rural character through community-driven service delivery, emphasizing the protection of open space and land use while enhancing a high quality of life that promotes and protects the town's equestrian and agricultural heritage. Now, I want to make a distinction between the mission statement and the vision statement. As you all know, the vision of any town or organization is it's aspirational, what you would like to be. The mission is the how, the way that you execute that. And that really falls more squarely on the administration to be able to really live up to what that mission statement communicates. And from the visioning retreat, you all generated 3 areas of strategic resource allocation. Mayor, you remember that we made that distinction, not strategic focus areas, but strategic resource allocation. And this really goes back to what we were talking about, the connection between the strategic plan and your budget, because this is really where the rubber meets the road. Where you put your dollars budgetarily should align with the things that you all have indicated are the priorities for the town. And those 3 categorical areas are infrastructure, town services, and technology. You all recognize this list because we've been sharing that through our bi-weekly meetings. We shared that when we had the community engagement meeting. But this is really where we've kind of landed the framework for what you all are going to prioritize and what this plan is going to reflect. It's going to reflect these focuses on these 3 strategic areas to be able to really, again, have a finer point on outcomes and deliverables.
To highlight these areas, we took 3 opportunities to allow the community to also engage and participate in sharing what they saw. In our public meeting that we had last month, we had about 15 residents that attended, and this was collected in terms of the attendance record for people that signed in. And from it, we were able to hear the voices and understand where do they want to see the resources allocated in those 3 strategic areas. We also did a community questionnaire that we sent out to everybody. This was to help provide an opportunity for those that weren't able to attend in the public meeting, seeing that the attendance was probably skewed a little bit lower into the general residents, to see if we can capture some that weren't able to attend. And from that, we had 16 more responses that came back. And then as well as having some virtual meetings with some of the advisory board members on these 2 dates, so the May 11th and the 12th. And from that, we had 3 attendees as well. We collected a lot of data, and a lot of the information that we said seemed to resonate with the 409 participants that came from a 2025 survey that you did last year. And our goal was to see how relevant was this data compared to the things that we were hearing in this last few months when we were collecting. And what we saw was a resonance in the themes of equestrian and animal-friendly lifestyles, as well as some infrastructure improvements when it comes to street and road surfacing and maintenance. And you can see from this survey that we had here, what the disposition is in terms of how many people felt this way, as well as how they would rate the town's current ability to perform in those categories. What I did want to note also was from other surveys that there were some opportunities for people to share about managing, I guess the compost was one of the topics that came up in our session last month, as well as being able to do things that was more environmentally friendly. What was interesting to note that most of those comments did come from our public meeting that we had, but it was not something that came up in the community questionnaire, but it did come up in the advisory board conversations as well. Again, skewing for the number of participants that voiced those opinions, as well as this, which would be a larger sample size of 409 participants. We also can see that when it comes to, for example, the compost program, it really isn't as much of a strategic plan as it was as a response to the incinerator plans that were coming out. And so our advice on that not being reflected here would be to see a way that we can make that into a strategic plan for the town, versus right now we see it as a tactical response and a program that is being executed to what we do. But overall, when we look at the different programs that you have and filtering them down through the strategic priority areas, what we wanted to accomplish in this is to help devise what we call a SMART goal. That we take this information, we take the mission, vision, and the values that the town has, and how can we make sure that they create into actionable items that are not only specific in terms of measuring the categories that not only the community wants, but the leadership believes are important, measuring on what this can look like in terms of what are the quantifiable objectives that we want to index on, making sure that they're attainable. So even though, for example, the resurfacing plan is something we want to do, actually getting them done in the next 5 years is probably not as likely as having a plan to address them based upon the budgets and the resources available, so that we can find a pathway to getting them done within the importance of what the town decides upon. And then from them, making sure they're relevant back again to the goals that the town has, what the community wants, and then making sure that they're set within this 5-year window that we're trying to create the strategic plan for. Also taking note that we did not have strategic plans in the plans that came out 5 years ago and the studies that you did before that. And so this is the first time that the town's really taken a moment to say, hey, we've addressed or we've captured this information, and now how are we going to create a strategic plan towards accomplishing that? And those are some of the things that we worked with the team to be able to also bring out. So in order to create those plans, what we did was met with each one of the departments. And here's an example of something that we worked through in terms of having, in this example, the Department of Public Works and Engineering create what would that SMART goal look like? What is something that they want to develop when it comes to, let's say, resurfacing all the roads identified as a substandard to where things are. And again, using the SMART template as a way to address them, we had them first address, let's say, what a priority area would look like, what would be that target date that we want to build this into, what's a budget that they estimate that they would need versus they have available to use, and in that time frame, what could they accomplish in the next 5 years, so that it may not look like all the roads are repaved or we're not eliminating the problem, but we're able to start working on that problem and create some momentum towards accomplishing the goal, versus having to do so much heavy lifting at a time when we have to do it that it seems unsurmountable to actually accomplish in that way. So ultimately, we're trying to achieve goals, create a winning pathway for success that allows the town to live up to the vision and the mission according to the values that we have determined.
Sir. So as we look through the framework that we've been sharing, we wanted to kind of land on some very specific recommendations. And this is not necessarily an all-inclusive list, but these are, I think, the heavy lifters, if you will, with respect to the recommendations. And we, as you see, we've divided them into two categories. The first category is for the council, the governance of this town. The second is for the administration. So as it relates to the governance, our first recommendation is really straightforward, a commitment to strategic focus areas through the fiscal years 2031, 2032. The simplicity in this is the strength in this particular recommendation. And what I mean is that by having these three areas of strategic focus and making a commitment through those 5 years, the town will realize, it is our belief that the town will realize some significant accomplishment if it stays the course relative to those areas of focus. Secondly, the annual budgetary commitment to strategic goals directly aligned with the focus areas. Again, this is really dovetails on not only the commitment to those three areas of focus, but making sure that you are essentially putting your money where your mouth is, making sure that you are funding in your budget the things that are aligned with those strategic focus areas. Lastly, from the governance perspective, establish a consistent process for any new projects and initiatives to ensure alignment with town's vision and values. We understand, and Jim and my experience understands that things come up as municipalities have to deal with unexpected circumstances all the time. The challenge and the kind of the tension point for the town of Southwest Ranches is to make sure that every time something comes up, that it doesn't become something that you deviate, but that you really kind of focus on making sure that it aligns with the strategic plan, so that you are not allocating resources on something that is not something that you had already identified as a priority. Moving over to the right, in terms of the administration's recommendation, the first one is creating alignment between departmental budget requests and strategic priorities. Very similar in terms of the first one for the governance, but this is really, again, tying the activity of the staff during the budget process, which we know you are in the middle of now, to make sure that the requests are really directly aligned to those strategic priority areas. What are the goals? And we had asked staff to come up with some goals relative to that in short order. So it's not a fully baked process, because it was very much the train had left the station by the time that we started. The staff had already started their budget process, but our recommendation moving forward is that it would be aligned, their request, to those strategic priorities. Secondly, that the town administration would consider implementing a clear link between performance review, the performance review instrument, and established strategic goals. We think that this is a really good way, a good metric to make sure that department heads specifically, and then the staff that works for those department heads, are all really focused on the strategic priorities for the town. This is really the most practical way to have that accountability relative to the priorities, because if in fact it is part of the performance evaluation, the staff understand that this is what they're going to be evaluated on and measured on. Lastly, the recommendation is the implementation of a balanced scorecard reporting mechanism to track overall performance. One of the things that we had asked staff to do is to develop key performance indicators, which is really an exercise that is not just part of the strategic plan, but also how they do business on a regular basis. And so this process is something that part of I think the difficulty in a lot of people's mind is you think you have to have a bunch of key performance indicators, and in reality, in this case, less is more. Because if you have some really, really good key performance indicators, that's a really good indication for you all as a governing body, as well as the public, to see how is this department performing based upon those indicators. What are the industry standards relative to that particular subject matter, et cetera. So these are, again, the high level, heavy hitting recommendations that we had for both the governing body as well as the administration. When we move into the implementation of this plan, this is, again, a recommended implementation, and you can see that we have phased it based upon the 5-year period, allowing for the first year, which is the budget that you are going into now, 26-27, as the transitional phase. Because you've already started your budgeting process and the framework that we have recommended, it is something that we think makes sense not to make a hard pivot, but to have a transition to move into this structured framework that we've presented thus far. This would include the adoption of the plan, integration of proposed structure to align with future budget calendar. And as you can see, every year we have a little bit higher reach in terms of that commitment to the plan. Next year would be the implementation phase. 2028-29 would be the scaling of project and services, where you would see standardizing of processes, continuous budget alignment, ongoing impact measurement. You would gain efficiency in years 29 and 30, and then you would really maximize through continuous excellence in 2030, 31. Again, this is, if you think about strategic planning in the way that we're proposing it, it's really about reaching a particular destination and really having a sense of knowing that you've arrived, because there are going to be specific outcomes that you're going to be able to see and measure based upon this commitment and this track. So as an example to expected outcomes, based on our review of the administration's submitted strategic goals, as I mentioned, we had started working with the staff this year, and they all did a fantastic job of really responding to the things that we requested. So far what we've already seen, this is a picture of what having the expected outcomes would look like. So this slide really gives you a snapshot. If these things were adopted, these particular strategic goals, launching a pilot program for new equestrian and or agricultural programming, procure a contract to create a trails master plan, implementation of a financial enterprise resource planning system, and deploying digital workforce management system to replace manual HR processes. These are all things that the staff has submitted as part of their budget request for the upcoming budget year. And if in fact the budget is adopted, as you can see, we have a caveat that these outcomes are of course subject to budgetary approval by the council. You would see these specific outcomes by the end of the 26-27 fiscal year. We have the same thing for the infrastructure category, which is the development and implement a comprehensive funding strategy to accelerate roadway resurfacing to a 5-year period. That is the outcome at the end of the 26-27 fiscal year. Not necessarily the resurfacing as Jim was talking about, but that you would have a quantifiable cost and a mechanism to be able to get you there within that 5-year period. And you can see the goals that would be achieved should the budget be approved for the technology category. So in conclusion, the summary for us as consultants is that the town of Southwest Ranches has a clear and distinct vision for the type of community it wants to be. That is something that came across in my conversations with each of you individually when we had the town council visioning retreat, all of the community meetings, etc. This is a very unique town, and the values and the distinctiveness of the town of Southwest Ranches is something that is really, really important to hold on to. The governance of the town operates cohesively and is supportive of the current administration. Again, another aspect which is very, very important to having really an effective trajectory for strategic planning. And to enhance organizational effectiveness, our proposed strategic plan emphasizes 3 main things. There's 3 areas of resource allocation, which are the strategic focus areas. The goals that the staff is presenting or preparing would have measurable strategic goals, and the defined plan period in 5 years. Again, you would know that you've reached the end because you will have the tangible outcomes to be able to speak to. Did you want to speak to this one or you want me to? Okay. So one thing that we wanted to add to the presentation is something that you all remember that was a discussion almost reluctantly, I would say, which is this proposed legislation, which you all are very, very familiar with and aware of, as is most of the public, which is a looming threat, the possibility of the passing of HJR 203. This is something that we have and will put in our final report is a recommendation for the development of a contingency plan to account for whatever the implications of that legislation would be. I know this would fall on the town administrator predominantly, but it is something that the entire governing body has to be aware of, that this is a possibility, albeit remote. It is still a possibility and something that we, I think, as consultants would be remiss if we did not highlight it and point it out. And so with that, we are happy to answer any questions that you all may have. We want to just thank you for the opportunity to have this engagement with the town of Southwest Ranches, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate the update. I think we're all excited to see this coming together, and glad to see that it's kind of getting into the next steps, seeing what those strategic plans come out, looking like with the accountability factors and all that. So I'm excited about it. Looking forward to really seeing this continue on. I don't know, any comments or questions from the council on this?
Nothing.
What other deliverables do you have for the town at this point?
You mean as far as from the staff?
Yeah.
We've gotten most of that.
No, I'm sorry, from you guys under your contract.
The actual
The plan?
plan itself. Yeah, this is really just a presentation to provide some highlights. You're going to get a whole lot more detail in the plan, but this is, we wanted to share this to make sure that A, that we were on track from a timing standpoint, but B, we also wanted to allow for any feedback that you all may want to give us before we bring a plan that would ultimately be adopted.
Got it. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Gary,
Mayor?
you have it? Good.
Yes, I think that there, and I don't mean to be critical, but I think there's a typo on the prior areas of strategic resource allocations where the council
Page number?
and staff
page?
met. There's 6, I'm sorry. There were 3 priority areas, it says, and the first one's infrastructure.
Mhm.
I think those last 2 words need to be stricken.
You mean
Sidewalks, new sidewalks, the roads
Yeah.
resurfacing, absolutely. New sidewalks, I don't think we like those.
Oh, I
Sorry.
see. Gotcha.
They ended
Yes.
Cooper City.
Yeah, they ended Cooper City. Right.
Understood and
Good
noted.
catch.
Just a typo, that's all.
Just one more quick question. So now when you finish the work on the plan, are you going to have a review session with the council, with Russell? How are you going to convey the knowledge to us?
It will be a review session with the administrator. We, obviously at Russell's request, if you want us to follow up with a specific review session with council, we're happy to do that. But in terms of our engagement, it really is just the deliverable of the plan back to the administrator.
Yeah, if I can just jump in on that. So we will be receiving the final draft plan, if you will. Once we do that, Catherine and I will be reviewing it first before we send it to council for one final review. And then what we will do is, if you guys are fine with it, we will bring it back for formal adoption at a council meeting.
Good. Yeah, and that does actually bring another question in my mind. So this is like a 5-year, we saw that one slide that shows how it grows over the 5 years. Are you checking in at all on those, or is that up to our administration to do that?
That would be up to the administration to
Okay.
do that. What we want to do is provide you a framework under which to operate, both budgetarily as well as practically on a regular basis. It'll really be up to Russell how
Okay.
he wants to or not use us beyond our engagement at this point.
Okay.
Correct. That was
Great.
that was the scope. If in the future, if we want to have further consultancy from this organization, we certainly would contact them to do so.
Very good.
Russell, so your next step. So as a consultant, I've developed a number of strategic plans, and most of them went unimplemented because we went through an exercise. Everybody was happy with the exercise, and business as usual after we presented. What's your game plan on implementing? Because that's a whole nother set of planning efforts.
Sure. And part of this is to be a living, breathing document, and not to just use a canned statement there, but we really want to utilize this and integrate it into everything that we do going forward. So one is we plan to use it as far as the KPIs, the key performance indicators that are developed in the monthly reports that we are providing to council. So you'll see our progress on certain items that we've stated as objectives. We'll give you percentage increases or where we are. We'll give you a report card essentially on a monthly basis when we give you the monthly reports on those key performance indicators. It'll also help us in driving our future budget decisions and our future budget asks. So we plan on implementing it there. Also, the items that come back to the town council for agenda review or for agenda items will have some statement in there about its alignment with strategic priorities that were defined by the council.
That's good for accountability. But I'm interested in understanding your plan, and I'm assuming you're going to develop a plan on how you're going to implement what you just told us were the highlights.
We have very detailed plans on how to do that. I mean, I don't know that you want that minutia here, but certainly we have detailed plans of how to do that.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Appreciate the guidance and direction as we've gone through this process, and looking forward to seeing the final plan.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could just take a moment to thank Jim and Daniel for their work with us on this. They were really instrumental in pulling this all together. And I also want to take a moment to thank Catherine for basically leading this project on my behalf. She's really done a yeoman's job with leading this in my absence, not only over the past 3 weeks, but also just with all the day-to-day stuff that I have going on. She's really been leading the charge. So she's been coordinating the departments, working with council, working with the consultants, and she's done a fabulous job with doing that. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank her for that.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Excellent. All right. Okay, any public comments tonight? No. All right. Any board reports tonight? We were on a roll, Harold.
We are. I'm not going to take 30 minutes. Good evening, Harold Gnitsky of Zero Waste Advisory Board. A couple of good activities. May 7th, I think it was our first our Zero Waste Advisory Board. We kicked off with Ruth Abbey Consultants, and so we spent majority of that, and a number of you there, the council were there to join us, so we appreciate that. We appreciate also having Catherine's guidance and help on working with Ruth Abbey and Dan as well. And so that worked out. So what we're doing is we've already started kind of engaging with stakeholders. If you guys have not been engaged, you will be. The council, I think as a group or individually, you'll be talking to them so you can share your input on the zero waste strategic plan. And so that's going to be a good thing. So we're going to be having again on this coming meeting first week in June. And again, that's going to be the major focus and continue to put efforts into that. So we have everyone engaged in that program. So if there's any questions on that, please feel free. In addition, just last weekend, again, thank you for the council for members for showing up. We had our first zero waste day at the market. We were competing a little bit with the holiday, but still it was a good spirit, and we had a lot of good energy. And I think we have a kind of a good game plan for doing it, and some lessons learned, things we can do to make the next one, maybe when it's cooler in October or something like that, we can do it again, get a little bit better seating at the location there as well. But we did have WM there who participated. We had Filthy Organics participated. We had in Spirit, we had the sneaker group there as well. So a lot of good effort in that regard, and so good momentum in general, and we're making progress.
Excellent.
Any questions? Happy to answer. Otherwise, thank you guys.
All right, great. Thank you, Harold. And thank you to everybody that's participated in that. I was out there as much of the council was, and it was great to see all that had been organized last weekend. So thank you.
Great job.
All right, any other board reports? Seeing none. Council member comments?
I'll go.
All right,
Okay,
it's all yours.
I got a lot to cover.
Okay.
So I've been absent for a little while, so had a nice time overseas and back to work.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Mic's on. Okay. Speaking of mics, I recently watched the meeting that I missed, and not everybody up here speaks into the mic, and I have to replay it continuously. And it's your colleagues to the left, or to your right, rather.
Am I right?
Yeah. Sorry, my left.
Guilty.
Yeah, big time. I replayed it like 5 times. I still couldn't get it.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Better, much better. And David, don't be afraid to, yell. Okay, it would be very helpful.
So-
I'm just telling you,
okay.
it was really
So does that
really
mean I'm a
hard to hear
loudmouth?
on full volume on my computer. So,
So
anyway.
Gary, does that mean I'm a loudmouth? You didn't mention nothing about me.
No, you did fine.
Okay.
You and the
I can
mayor
hear
did
you at
fine.
home.
Keith did fine, and Russell did fine. Or not Russell, I'm sorry. Miss Russell over here. Well, according to today, she was. Anyway, that's another joke. Sorry. Just want to name a few things, and then I have something to discuss with all of you guys. Do all of you guys have a spreadsheet that looks like this in front of you? Okay. Anybody here else need one? Okay. Just, I'm not going to discuss that. That's the tail end of one of my discussions. So just hold on to it. I just want to make sure you have it. First, start off, we've got bingo at the barn on the 20th of June, 6 p.m. when dinner starts. Tickets, I think, are $30 right now. Get them while they last because we only have seating for like 110, and that's it. And we usually max out pretty quick on that. So, see December or at the front desk or the curly guy right there, George. We have hazmat at the barn on the 11th of July, where we do prescription drug drop off, shredding, all the appliances, electronics, all the stuff that you can't figure out what to do with, non-commercial stuff. It's a great program 4 times a year, and it works really, really well. I noticed on the last meeting you guys were talking about the Publix mural, the one I was not at, and I talked to Russell briefly about, and he was working on getting it, and we were trying to figure out just when we were doing a one-on-one how we could get a hold of it, if possible, because Publix has taken several of them and they've just gone in the dumpster, and it's kind of scary because it's really a nice thing.
Just a quick question. So I think coming out of the last meeting, option A, the preferred was to see if they would find a spot for themselves, and only if they couldn't,
Right.
then we would
Yeah,
look to see if we
like
could
if they
get it.
could put a spot inside
Okay.
the new store.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was that was a part. I
still
actually
good
heard
with
that
that?
part. I heard that part.
Okay. Okay.
So I just want to make that. We have another photo contest coming up for the new calendar. The subject is wings over the ranches, and any other cute little animal pictures you can put in that the judges, which is the Rural Arts Committee, will say works. Interestingly enough, Flowmobile is back. It's on the 24th of June, correct, Deborah? Call Deborah to make an appointment. Valuable resource. Utilize it. It's so convenient to come here and have that done. Last Sunday was the last Sunday of the farmers market until the fall because it's just too hot, too rainy, too muggy, too buggy, you name it. So that's all coming out.
But it's
They
on
still Saturday. It's absolute still Saturday, except for maybe the pumpkin patch, but I don't know. They may go on Sunday with that. So, George, are you guys doing the pumpkin patch again? Okay, all right. I want to thank Jim Albritton, Councilman Albritton, for the Veterans Cafe. It was an outstanding event. Everybody loved it. lot of work went into it. I know Jim was real nervous about it. I'll let Jim explain how that how that happened. It's kind of comical and cute, but any rate, it turned out really, really good, and hopefully we'll do one at least each quarter or something like that, you know, and hopefully it'll grow, you know, as far as that goes. Okay, going up to this worksheet, Steve, you had brought back an item about where a resident was asking for relief in terms of the 100% disabled veterans, right? And first, let me give you a little bit of a history lesson behind that. You and I were on the council at the time, so I'm sure you remember it.
Yep.
Bob was probably in the back of the room, so he probably remembers it. Everybody else, this is all going to be probably good new news to them. We started in 2010 at a budget meeting with a request to have the have the fire fees picked up by the town. We agreed to do that for the disabled vets at that time. And then we totally forgot about it. It was kind of a weird situation. And about 6 weeks later, 4 weeks later, everybody said, hey, you guys voted on it, but you didn't, nothing happened. There was no motion, we didn't make a motion, but there was nothing, no follow through on it or anything like that. And I dug through and we couldn't figure out where we set it at. And I dug through and found my notes in that it was on a budget meeting, not a regular meeting. And then so we implemented it shortly thereafter. Then in about 2014, the request was made by then Mayor, I think it was Mayor McKay, to do the garbage, the total waste, bulk and house pickup and recycling for the disabled vets at 100%. He could not get a second. And it was asked numerous times and could not get a second. And then I put my thinking cap on and I came up with, okay, guys, how about this? Let's take it at halfway, 50%. That's how we got to the 50% number. And everybody got behind that. And we've been paying that. We've been providing that to the disabled vets for the last 11 years, since I think 2015 or something, right around 2015. I have a letter from one of the wives that we all received, and I keep it in there and read it every now and then just to remind me. It was a very sentimental type of letter, thanking us for it. So what I did, that's the history behind it. What I did was I asked Emil and to develop a spreadsheet of what you guys have in front of you now, of what it would cost for us to do the 100% mark and go from there. And Emil was really good. He put it together really quick for me. And I wanted to look at the total picture, not just this one specific add-on. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So doing the assessment on the bulk is a roundabout number because everybody's got a different lot size. And as you know, bulk is calculated by your homestead lot size, your plot. So using an average, Emil came up with a number of $6,728.04, and it gave us a total general fund impact of $49,225.44. You know, that's going to be plus or minus a few dollars on that, depending on the lot size. And so the increase is rather slight. I mean, yes, 6,000 is a lot of money, or close to 7,000. I agree. To me, $1,000 is still a lot of money, but I think it's something that we can work with. So I got to thinking about it during the meeting where we were discussing where we ended up with the 50%. We had significant resident pushback on it, and that was one of the reasons why we couldn't. Mayor McKay never got a second on the 100% mark, because there were citizens that were here that were protesting that, saying that's not our job, blah, blah, blah. you know, if those of you remember the arguments and all that. So thinking along those lines, I also came up with another thought. And that is that we take, and do not make this a budget item, that we pay this out of the lien fund every year as funds are available. And if the funds are not available, then we'd put it into the new budget cycle. Now, I asked Emil how much was in the lien fund. I know the number, but Emil, can you tell him how much the lien fund has?
Yes, 255,000.
So there's just over $250,000 in the lien fund. So if we paid this, it would be down to 200,000, and that's not counting any future additions to that. But the important note I want to make on this, on using the lien fund, is that we are giving the veterans the full discount, which make them obviously very happy and make the rest of us very happy also. But we're not using taxpayer money for it. It's not coming out of the budget money that we receive from the taxpayers. So it's tax-free revenue that we get, you know, for that. And I'd like to propose that we use that as every year until, unless it's not feasible that year, then we put it into the regular budget cycle. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I have a couple questions on it. So you mentioned the number of $49,000. That number is the total for both what the 50% we're already subsidizing plus an additional 50% that we're talking about. So it'll be 100%.
Correct. That's correct.
Let me just finish the question. So, so are you talking about taking out of the lien fund the full 50,000?
Yes.
So that even what we're currently paying out of the general
Yes.
fund
Correct.
would go away.
Would go away. As long as that money is available, because that money's just sitting there.
Yeah. Okay. Then that's my second question. So then the second question is that money. That money has had more names than
Yeah, but it always
I'll
comes
just leave
back
it
to
there.
one
That
name.
has had a lot of names.
Right.
So you used the lien fund tonight. Where did this money come from?
This money is essentially sitting on unassigned fund balance, which is reserved.
That's what I thought.
Any surpluses happen throughout every budget cycle. Any surpluses just rolls into unassigned fund balance.
So this is not, a portion of it may be coming from liens. It's unassigned fund balance, which means it could be taxpayer ad valorem taxes that went towards elements that we ended up not spending for one reason or another. And it ends up in unassigned balance. So I just don't want people to, I want to be transparent. I'm not
understand.
trying, yeah. And so it's probably the majority of this is taxpayer money that was paid in, but it was not required according to the budget for whatever reason. Either we didn't do that project or administration many times has done the project but come in below budget. And so these are dollars that are excess and left over at the end of the year. So I like the idea. I'm not opposing. I just wanted to be sure I understood it. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with the whole thing coming out of that. That's good that it's there, but what I don't want to do is set us up for failure 10 years from now when that fund is not there, and all of a sudden, boom, it's like.
Well, then we put it back into the regular budget cycle.
Right, exactly, and then at that point, it's going to hurt whatever group of residents are there at the time, because that's going to be an extra piece that they have to pay.
Well, it's what we're doing now.
I understand, but
so-
we're saying we're going to, it's one of those things that, now we won't feel the pain, but we're perhaps accumulating a debt that we're going to have to pay in the future, and that's what I'm.
I mean,
concerned
we
about.
always face that, but right now you're looking at 5 years worth. If not a penny more is collected, you're looking at 5 years worth.
We're looking at 5 years worth, correct?
And-
Unless we have, say, something in Tallahassee happen where they cut our property taxes, and we need that 200,000. Matter of fact, we need about 2 million And that 200,000 or 250,000 is a down payment on a much bigger bill that we have to come up with.
There's always that
That's
possibility.
well, that's my concern.
Yeah, I understand the concern.
So I'm just going to finish it up, and then I'll step away and let everybody else talk, or you talk. And I'll say, I am in favor of this. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying to be opposed to it. I'm not sold on the mechanics of it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think Emil had wanted to say something. Did you? You raised your hand.
Just for clarity on the Excel file, if you look at up to the right side, upper right side of it, would you see that 33,825.84? That's currently under budget. That is currently under this year's budget, 25-26 budget. That's budgeted. If we were, I'm using 25-26 budget numbers as an estimate, as these rates might change, or the tax value of the property might change year over year. So we are currently under budget 33,825.84. And if council were to adopt this solid waste and bulk waste at 100%, it would increase that 33 by 15,399.60. That is the increase, the net increase that would impact the budget going forward. I just want to clarify that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a couple comments as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers on the right, and I was having a bit of a challenge. The delta is the 15,000. Okay. So that's, if we adopt this, that's the increase in our budget, 15,003. I'm with you on transparency. I mean, we're talking, I can't get any, is that better? It's off. I didn't turn it off.
Sure.
Well, not intentionally. Can you hear me now? All right. We're going into our budget season right now. They're scheduling meetings with us. You know, when I look at the lien fund, to me, that's 100% contingency. We ought not be planning to use that now. If we need to increase our basically our solid waste and budget line items by 15.3, I'd rather go that route than have a circular route to where we got that money from. I totally support this, by the way. I mean, 15,000 for our vets that are permanently disabled is not a lot of money, but I know how important it is to them. So, I mean, now one other thing, and this is a question really for you, Emil. The lien fund, that is I forget the term you always use, and you used it 5 minutes ago. Unassigned fund balance. So, which general fund account is that a reserve account for?
It is a reserve account,
Okay.
which is that the proper name is unassigned fund balance.
Right.
That means that we can use it as council directive
Sure.
based on directive from council. Any surplus, in this case, the lien fund, as Councilmember Jablonski actually calls it, we track it for that same reason. So we don't want to have it commingle with any other surpluses from all the different departments or
Sure.
excess revenue.
Makes sense.
But everything goes into that same bucket.
Good. So I'd really like to see this come out of the general fund rather than out of the unassigned fund balance account that I guess we were thinking about. So other than that, I completely support it.
David.
I had a couple questions and then a position. What under your scenario, Councilmember Jablonski, what would be the threshold where you would say, well, we can no longer access the unassigned fund balance for eliminating these
If it was less
fees?
than,
Is there
if it
a
was under
threshold?
that amount,
I'm sorry?
if it was under that amount, the 49,000 or whatever.
Okay, so if that unassigned balance gets below
Below that
49,
amount.
then you would, okay.
Whatever that amount, whatever amount that is in that year.
Okay, I'm going to say I have a little problem with that. I support the program, but maybe the source is kind of now, if we were to maybe take the 15,000 delta out of the unassigned fund balance, I probably would be supporting that or out of the general revenue, as Bob had suggested. But taking it all out of the unassigned fund balance, I think that we have used that for the speed signs and various projects in the town. And I think there's other projects that are coming up. I'm sure that there's going to be projects dealing with horse trails that we're going to be maybe going through those funds. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, trying to preserve that for those bigger projects like that. And I think that we could probably, maybe the 15 out of the unassigned fund balance may be something that I could do, or out of general revenue, as Councilmember Hartman had mentioned.
I'll just add one real quick thing, and that is that it's a little disappointing to me, and from the standpoint that it was probably about 3 months ago that we made the commitment not to really take any money from out of this, because we know we have this public safety building, firehouse that's coming down here, and we said we really need to stop dipping into that fund because we're going to need those.
That's a good point. Thank you. Thank you for raising that. So that's generally kind of where I am sitting with this. But yeah, the our public safety building, that I hadn't considered that one. I should have. But yeah, so that's where I am on this.
Jim?
Yeah, Mayor, we've started the budget process. We're in the beginning of the budget process. Is there any way to fit that $15,000 into the budget itself and not worry about the unfunded balance? And if you did use the unfunded balance at the 15,000, I know it'll go up each year, but currently that'd be 131 years worth of payments out of it at 250,000. But if we could work that 15,000 into the budget this year, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I get the vice mayor's point on it, that there was concerns. I remember that conversation you brought up. There was a lot of concern from residents about their tax dollars going to pay for someone else's services. But I feel like we should just meet that directly and say that we as a council have the commitment to those veterans to say that we believe that this is a service that they deserve. Yeah. And we understand that there's an element of sacrifice on other residents, on all of us, as we pay just a tiny amount more to make that happen. But I would rather be upfront and just say that that's what we're doing, because we think they've earned it and they deserve it.
Right. Well, here's an idea. Supposedly this week is the big meeting up in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Is it this
Why
week
don't-
coming?
This week coming,
Okay.
I believe. Why don't we sit on this and see what happens?
Well, the good news is that regardless of what we do, we're going to sit on this, because this is going to come up. This is going to be a decision as part of our budget process
Right.
in
Right.
August and September.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I know we have projects coming up. I know we have
Yep.
this or that.
Right.
But to me, this is a higher priority than a trail. Okay, or something to that effect.
I don't think we have to pick and choose between the two,
Yeah.
but I understand what you're saying. But I don't.
But that's why I had Emil, put all this together, so it explains it all, and then the lien fund has
Let's
been
not call it the
used in
lien
the
fund.
past.
It's not the lien fund. That's a nice way to put it. That's not what it is.
The unassigned fund balance.
Thank you.
Okay, it has liens in it, but no, but it's a catch-all.
It's a catch-all.
For the unspent money or fines.
Yep.
That we get. So I think
Along with a lot of taxpayer dollars.
Emil, what's the actual name of that account? Unassigned fund balance is the type of account it is. What's the name?
That is the name.
Oh, that is the name.
Yeah, that's the name. That is the name
Maybe we can be a
for
little more creative.
for
but-
the general fund.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just that
part of the
we
general
have it on our financial statement.
it just
and
sits
it
there,
specifically
and
is
you're right
broken-
about the future projects we have coming up. I just think this project was worthy of bringing that up.
And I'm just saying, I think either way, it's coming out of taxpayer dollars, and I'd rather just say up front, that's where it's coming from. Because the vast majority of that money is taxpayer money, not lien money.
Okay.
Mayor,
I'm
could I
sorry.
ask you a quick?
I wasn't told that, but okay. I'm not disputing
Yeah.
it. It's a
Yeah.
conversation for another
But
day.
this is a regular thing. You don't take from a reserve account for something you know and anticipate. And
But
if
this
we
isn't a
pass this,
reserve
this-
account.
Sorry?
It's not a reserve account.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah.
We take this from the right general fund account if we're going to plan on doing this till we stop. This isn't a specialty thing we're doing as a one-off. We can plan for it. So to me, we just mix this in with the rest of our budget items, put it in the right place, and there's no question on what it is. There's no footnotes in the annual report,
Right.
that sort of thing. I mean, I like the transparency because sooner or later we'll get the question and we can avoid it.
Okay.
But I appreciate
Ma-
you
Mayor, I
getting
got-
the numbers and the figures
Yeah.
and getting that, because that's part of the transparency as
Mayor,
well.
I got one quick question, if you would. What would the impact to the residents, all the residents be with the 15,400 approximately per
Well,
household or whatever?
I'm
you
just
want?
going to say
Yes.
that we have about 8,000 residents, so I'm going to say it's about $2 a resident.
So work hard to put it in the budget? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just to support your comment on the upcoming, the firehouse is to be one of our very highest priorities.
It has to be.
because, and we don't know where Tallahassee's going to stand on
Right.
that. Because if they're going to really try to hammer everybody by reducing everybody's taxes, so they think, we're going to be juggling a lot of things. And I'd rather just see this done and over with. And if we have to reduce things like this because we can't afford to operate the town, I'd rather make that as that judgment, not we're going to start playing games with unassigned fund
I agree
balances.
100%.
Yeah, but I don't,
right.
I don't call it playing games.
Well,
Yeah,
I might have
playing
used
games
the
is
wrong
not the right-
term.
the
I'm
right
sorry.
term. It's not the right term. You're right. It's
Yeah.
not
I
playing
apologize.
games. It's an alternative way of doing that. I don't think is quite as transparent.
Okay.
Yep. Any other comments?
I'm done.
Thanks for bringing that up. It was good. It was good. I see your hand, Newell. This is council member comments. We're not making any decisions tonight, so you're more than welcome to bend my ear after the meeting.
And mine.
Who'd like to go next?
I'll go. Just have a couple things. Sorry I was late, folks. I was on a phone call that was very important and the time got away from me. I do want to call out an event that happened last Saturday. We had a Memorial Day event for the veterans at Jim and lots of team members that Russell maybe can call out during his comments. But it was, I'll put it this way, it's one of the best town events I've ever attended. I wouldn't say every veteran from our town was there, but I would say most of them were. There were over 100 people up at the barn. The comments that were made by the various speakers, everything hit home. I mean, as a son of a veteran, it was very important, and I thought it was great. So, Jim, fantastic idea. I said then, and I'm going to formally say it now, I would recommend to the council. I don't know if we have to vote on it or just say, but I'd like to see this every year on Memorial Day because it really highlighted the service of the veterans. And to me, we never do that enough. As somebody out of the Vietnam era, I remember when everybody was coming back and they were calling them baby killers and all that sort of thing. Whole different mindset today. And everybody who served in the military deserves the recognition. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Russell, and everybody else who was involved in it. I know December was a big player in this. Thank you. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. And again, Jim, I can't say it enough. As far as the legislature, I didn't realize the meeting with that the legislature is going to have is this coming week on what they're going to do with our property taxes. I've read all sorts of different permutations on what they're going to do. The most recent I heard in the last couple of days is that, I don't know if you recall, homestead exemption. If you've been here a while, been living in Florida for a while and owning a home or of any type, homestead exemption used to be $25,000. Then they bumped it up about, 6, 8, 10 years ago to $50,000. It seems to be the simplest way for the legislature to get this passed. That might be the angle they're taking now. They may be turning around and basically increasing the homestead exemption to $250,000. So 5 times what it is today. Now, what that means for us in terms of our ad valorem taxes and what our millage rates are going to be in the next cycle, you're hearing part of the conversation here on what we're going to need to do. We can't not fund our police department. And I think they put that in, or they plan to put that in the law, that there's a couple of things that you can't touch. I think police, fire, and the schools are the 3 areas. But, you know, we don't have enough money. Our park grass is going to be 4 feet tall. So there's ways and opportunities. Now, when election season comes in the fall, and this is in front of us, remember who voted for this and who voted against this, because this is going to, if they pass it, if this happens next week or whenever it happens, it's going to create a huge amount of turmoil for government across the state. Now, I realize that, you know, their point is that they feel that a lot of municipalities and counties don't manage their money properly. They had their Doge group going around, and I haven't seen anything out of that. I haven't seen money cut from any of the municipalities or counties. I don't know what came out of that. At the end of the day, we'll have to make whatever adjustments. Now, some of those adjustments may be a lot less things going on in our town, you know, but we still have to inspect homes. We still have to do most of the things we do today. So I'll be on the call next week when they have that, and we'll be fighting for you folks, because this is one of the craziest things. I was talking to a libertarian friend last night, and she's like, well, you know, too much money is always spent. I said, I don't know about always, the word always. We're 13 square miles. I think, what do we have, Russell, 34 employees? Oh, we have less than 34 employees. You know, now, do we run very efficiently? Come to our budget hearings and you'll hear about it. Some of the other cities around that I read about in the newspaper, they got their own issues. In the county, if you got 2 or 3 hours after the meeting, I'd love to have a conversation with you, because what I see going on in BSO and some of the other departments down there is a horror story. So we'll keep you posted. We'll probably write an article or two between now and when the new tax season starts. So we'll see. I'm hoping that they're going to do this not for this upcoming fiscal year, but they'll give us a year. Because if we're talking about next year's budget now and it's adopted later in the year, how do you?
Yeah, the proposal would go to the voters in November. So
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that part. You're right. It's there's our last recourse, folks. It's going to be on the ballot, and it's either thumbs up or thumbs down, and it's statewide. It's not like Southwest Ranches gets to vote for their own the way we want to do it. Russell, I wanted to bring up an administrative item that I think is kind of important. We've had a rule amongst the council for years that once the budget is, not the budget, what am I saying? I'm still on that topic. Once the agenda, the meeting agenda for the council meetings has been published on that Friday, we don't put amendments into it. I don't know when the amendments popped up on this, but when I came in, I'm looking at 4 amendments to the agenda for tonight, or 3. I'd really like to go back. Somebody's going to have to let us know what the changes are, because you and I spoke. I went back, I read the agenda from Friday, and I'm unaware of what the amendments are. So it would be nice if we went back to our old process, where if it isn't on this, if there's a change and it's material, then we need to push it to another date. And I realize that impacts the people that the agenda, the items serve, but it really makes it incumbent on us to have it done on time then, so it's published on time. So I'll bring that up. One last item that may be something new that we're going to need to look at, and actually I've talked to Russell and Catherine both about this, and they've got some ideas. We are a town that is very golf cart friendly. I've never heard of anybody in our town getting a ticket for riding a golf cart. Now, if you're riding it on Griffin Road or US 27 or take it on I-75, it's up to the cops on what they want to do there. But, when people are mindful and respectful with their golf carts, nobody's ever going to hassle them. Well, golf carts are becoming a thing of the past. After golf carts, we had 3-wheel ATCs. Then we had 4-wheel no, I'm not even at the side-by-sides yet. Then we went to 4-wheel quads, and now we have these side-by-sides. And in the last month or so, twice, coming home at night, I see these guys, I don't know where they're coming from, but they're coming in off of 27 just like me, doing 65 on an unlicensed, unregistered motor vehicle on Griffin Road multiple times now. I see them on my street, and I'm not going to name names because that'll get me more than an egg on my front door. But these things are not golf carts. They don't do 15, 20 miles an hour. Easily 65. The guy flew past me on Griffin Road and I'm doing 45. Now, is there consequences? Yeah, there was a fatality at the end of my street 2 years ago from exactly one of these $50,000 toys. The guys went off into the trees. The trees are gone now, but that doesn't really matter because more and more people are buying these things. There are no rules and regulations in our town the way they feel. So in discussing it with Catherine last week, she thought, that we probably want to start a social media campaign to create some awareness that they're off-road vehicles. You can't get more off-road than those things. I've seen them out on the levees. You're not allowed to take motor vehicles on the levees. They're going wherever they want. So I don't want to legislate anything right now, but I think our first step is to get the word out that, they're not designed for driving on roads. And, if we have more and more of this continue to go on, then we'll discuss that as well. But I think this is the starting point. Anybody have any feedback on that? Because you mentioned these kinds of words, and I know if there's people watching who've got these things at home, well, we bought it for our whoever, and they deserve to have fun like everybody else. Okay. Till they kill themselves or somebody else. That's what I'm worried about. So, all right. I believe that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Bob. David?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, everybody in attendance, David Kaczynski, District 4. Let me begin. I don't think I do this enough. If anybody needs to reach me directly, the best way to reach me is my cell phone, and I'm going to give you that number right now, 305-815-0990. You can call me and you'll get directly to me. I may not get it right away. I may be working on something, but 24, 48 hours, I'll have your call returned. Who's handling cameras up here? Can you put the town website up here? All right, folks, public service announcement. That tab to the right says Town Resources. If you click on that, the second tab down, Emergency Notification Sign Up. The reason I'm emphasizing this, Monday begins the 2026 hurricane season. And while they said they're projecting, you can take it down now. All right, that's the sign up page. You click on, you click on the little tab over there, HQE enrollment form. That's where you click on it, fill it out, and it'll be automatically submitted to the town. You sign up and get alerts from the town about any emergency alerts. It's really, really important. You can keep up to date with what's going on. All right, back to the camera, thanks. All right, next issue, Sunshine Ranch's speed tables. I was advised that Rod is waiting on a report from the traffic engineer for the analysis of the placement of projected speed tables from the private funder and how it will proposed affect the traffic in other areas. So that's where that issue is at this moment. Let's see. Next important thing, and I'm going to only touch on this because this issue is still under investigation. Saturday afternoon, I got a phone call from a resident on St. Lane pointing out to me that the property next door, which is advertised on Facebook and some other locations for hosting parties, they were setting up parties, and the way it was put to me is they had something similar to a carnival ride going in the backyard with swings on chains. So I told her to get some photos, and if the issue starts coming up, we will be addressing it. I advised code that things are going on. Code officer showed up, took some photos as well. And about 8 o'clock Saturday night, while I was just getting ready to prepare dinner, phone call that this property was setting off fireworks. It was a gender reveal party, setting off fireworks. And the people that called me are owners of horses, and their horses were going crazy because of the fireworks. And I have repeated this time and again that fireworks scare the horses. They can't set off fireworks thinking that you're innocent just because it's on your property. They scare these animals, and I have seen photos where a miniature horse was so scared that he was running around and broke his neck. We can't have that. That's why we have restrictions on these fireworks. And also this part, as I drove up, people were parking along the swale. You cannot have a party with parking in the swale unless you have insurance. And since they had these events going on, I don't think they had permit, and I don't think they were paying for the insurance. And hopefully we can start getting enforcement of, I guess, illegal parking. I don't know where we can go with that. So the issue is still under investigation, and I really support the town, and I support what Davie Police is going to be doing on this issue. It's really, really important because these people have their horses and their animals, and they really want their peaceful living. Next, there's a lot of folks that if in front of your home, and I'm going to give an example of Sunshine Ranches because there's a lot of canals. If you have a home and the canal is on the opposite side of the street, well, this means the horse trails are along in front of your property. And your foliage, your growth that you have in front of your property should be cut back sufficiently for the horses to pass through. I've had complaints of some properties on Mustang Trail. I'm going to contact the property owner just to let them know I had a complaint. Maybe those can get resolved without anything further action. I know the people, so I don't think there's going to be a problem. But just so everybody else is aware, we are promoting, we're not just preserving the equestrian lifestyle or the rural lifestyle, we are promoting our equestrian lifestyle. Thank you, Mayor. So let's see. Oh, I had thought, and this is something that came into my thought today as I was going over just my thoughts for the meeting. Maybe we can ask some of our equestrian businesses that offer riding lessons to maybe offer a discount to the children that live in Southwest Ranches, because we have to continuously keep the equestrian lifestyle going in Sunshine Ranches. And what better way than to have the children involved? I've met some families that have children, some new people that have moved here, some new people that moved on West Palomino. This is a great family, the Leader family. When the husband and wife first met, this is their second marriage, both of them. When they first met, both of them, the husband and the wife, both have twins.
No, that's right.
And they got twins at 10 years old and 10 years old. So it's going to be a very, very busy household. Wonderful, kind people. Andreas had volunteered to be membership for Sunshine Ranches HOA, and she was on the call Wednesday night, and it was really, really, really cool. She had a lot of people that were reaching out to her, and we found out that she's originally from Costa Rica, and one of our other residents, Nicole, is from Costa Rica. So they wanted to exchange numbers and maybe talk about things back home. And then my last issue, in a couple of meetings, Mr. Mayor, I've heard you mention never took a position, but it's something that you floated about as a thought of maybe floating a bond for Tisdorf. And I was thinking about it, and I'm just going to throw this out to the council. Maybe we can put a question on the ballot. We have until June 12th, whether the town residents would support a bond for improving our streets. So it's something this may be decided this meeting, or maybe there's another meeting before then. But it's just something I had thought about. So that does it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, David. Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the privilege of talking to a number of other council members and commissioners and mayors through the Broward League of City. And what Bob was mentioning about the budget, they're amazed that we have such a small staff. They're amazed that we can run the town on what little money we get. When I say little money, they have a budget probably 10 times ours, and they're not but half again our size. Some of these municipalities have 100, 150 employees. That's just absolutely amazing. So what this town does with its money and with its staff is absolutely amazing what it does. So I like to say thank you to the town for that. And, you know, your money's in good hands with the staff that we have here. Next, I want to tell you that I attended the Broward Police Benevolent Association Officers of the Year Award today. I was honored to represent the town of Southwest Ranches, and they had officers from a number of municipalities that have went above and beyond the call of duty during 2025, and they were recognized. It's a great organization. They give out scholarships. Miss Rick Case was there. Miss Case was there. She spoke, and she realized that over the years, the scholarship fund that they had, that she had not contributed to it, and she ended up giving over the past years, she gave $1,000 for each year that she had been here and not realized that they had that fund. She gave $28,000 to the fund, and she promised $1,000 a year thereafter. I mean, I just thought it was fantastic. So it was great to see, you know, that the police are being recognized. And lastly, I don't know how to say, and I'll probably lose it right here, but for this town, the council, the staff, missed December for everything they did to bring that together for Memorial Day. It wasn't to honor the veterans, it was to honor those that have fallen, but to have the veterans there honoring those that had fallen was a special day for me. We had people to speak, all the service people were able to introduce themselves, and Gary was there portioning out the food. We were a little concerned at first that we'd run out of food. We only had 60-something chairs set up, and then we ended up with over 80 chairs set up. So we were a little concerned. We bought food for 70, and we were afraid we were going to run out of food, but that didn't happen. Thanks to Gary and his portioning, it worked out great. But it was a tremendous occasion, and Bob said we'd like to do it each year. I'd love to do it on Memorial Day each year. But remember now, Memorial Day is not for veterans, it's for those who've fallen. All right? I'd love to have it. If it became a town event, we'd have to move the venue because the barn's not big enough to hold it. I mean, I could see this actually growing into something for the town on Memorial Day that would be just bigger than anything we had. I have asked the veterans to fill out a form. They filled out a piece of paper asking them when they thought that we should meet, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever day they picked, and how often. I'd like to see it every quarter to get started. If you make it every month, it'll lose traction, but every quarter for the veterans themselves to get together. And it doesn't have to be a big breakfast or anything like that. Just coffee and donuts and get together and say hi would be absolutely wonderful to get it started. We did get a couple $1,000 offerings for the Memorial Day for next year to go into a fund. So thank you all who came. Thank you all who were part of it, that participated as far as making it right, and all the volunteers that were there. I was blown away. And the last thing that we did, I had the honor of raising the flag at noon back to full mass. That's part of the ceremony. Taps were being played, and it was just an honor for me. So I'd like to thank everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Yeah, that was really an incredible day, incredible event, and yeah, I look forward to doing that every year. My thought is Memorial Day and Veterans Day, which should be doing that at least twice a year. We did have a good group at the PBA. Jim was there, but we also there. I was there. Vice Mayor was there. Russell was there and Catherine was there. So we had a group there, and it was great to see those officers being recognized. I did want to do a quick shout out. December, I drove by Country State Park and I saw all things smoothed out and cleaned out there. It looks awesome. Great job. Thank you for that. Love it. And then I wanted to just give a quick update on the horse trails that the equestrian group that we got together. I know last time I was here, we spoke, and I'm just meeting with them individually just to get rid of a lot of the red tape and the sunshine laws, so we move very quickly on there, and we are moving very quickly. But on the other side of that, I just want to make sure that you all are kept in the loop and understand where we are in the process. I've met with the large group. Earlier this week, Kathy Cox and she was gracious enough to show me around town all the places that where they have concerns and where they have like 2 great trails, but they're blocked by a small blockage in the middle. So things that we can work on. I've put that together into a document and put visuals on each one of those blockages. So it's pretty straightforward. And we're just doing a final review of that. I hope to have that distributed to you in the next week. And then we'll be getting with Russell and the administration to determine what it's going to take to resolve each of those issues. I can tell you up front, some of them are going to be super easy. You just need to put a little effort into it. And some of them are probably too big and too hard to do altogether. So, but we want to be able to prioritize them all so that we can get rid of the quick and easy ones as quickly as possible and enhance. But I don't ever want to lose focus of why we're doing this. And we need to, we talk about things, and Bob, you brought up a good point of it. We see these other vehicles coming around, and a lot of the trails that were originally set up for equestrian are now being taken over by other things. And David, you mentioned this as well. So we're losing that element of our town. And frankly, I think not only is it number one of the key elements of who we are, where we came from, why people moved to this area of the county in the very first place. But second of all, it's an identity that even if you're not a horse owner, even if you have no interest in horses, the equestrian community is a community that benefits us all. Your kids, your grandkids coming around seeing that. Frankly, the property values that go with that, it's all a plus. There's no negative. Okay, you may have to shovel off your front in front of your yard once every 6 months or so, but there's really no negative to it. It's all positive. But it's up to us as a council to push it forward, up to the residents to embrace it, and to make sure that this becomes a permanent part and a growing part of who we are as a town. So I'm excited for the group that we've got working on this. I'm really excited at how quickly we're making progress, and you're going to have something in your hands very quickly. So, all right. With that said, let's move on to legal comments.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of real quick things. To Councilmember Hartman's point about the illegal vehicles on the roadway now, what I've noticed when I go to work in the morning now is it's not just illegal vehicles, but now that kids are starting to get out of school for the summer, it's way underage kids driving these illegal vehicles.
That's the danger. Yeah.
And that's where I got worried. I almost got hit today by one of those illegal vehicles, and I told Russell the kid must have been 7 or 8 years old.
Listen, folks, we have lost our kids to this in the past. This isn't something that could happen. This is something that has happened in our town more than once. And so what you're saying is right on target, Keith.
Yeah, and from that purpose, when you do discuss with Dave EPD, it's more so, the underage factor and no parental supervision than even the illegal vehicles. I mentioned to some, I was at Publix the other day and bumped into a resident on Marvin Lane who just put his house up for sale this week, and I asked him why, and he said he can't live abutting Sunset. He said it's too loud. He has no peace of quiet, no lifestyle anymore, and he has to leave. And I think I might have mentioned it to Councilmember Kaczynski. And I mentioned it to Julio, and
You
he
did.
mentioned to me it is a major problem right now. It's the illegal parties, it's the noise, it's the lack of enforcement, it's trying to bring it through code, and someone getting a minor fine, they don't care, they're paying it and moving on, and it no recognition that it's destroying others' quality of life and their ability to live in the town. So I just wanted to mention that. I told the resident I would bring it up.
Is there recommendations or something? I mean,
My recommendation, and Russell knows this, is Dave EPD has to follow our noise ordinance and issue NTAs, notice to appear, and treat it as a court matter rather than code enforcement, which comes with harsher penalties for the illegal violation. They have been, they've only issued some that way. They're afraid to issue all that way. And I think we need the police to step up and do what the council requested in order to get this under control.
thank you.
Can I just ask a question about that, Keith? It's on.
Yeah, you have to talk. Please.
Rag you, Bob.
What was I going to say?
It's about enforcement of party
Yeah,
issues.
I lost my train of thought. I apologize.
I'll be here all night.
Yeah, I'll get you later.
We have 2 code enforcement issues. I'm going to ask Julio to come forward. Just if I screw this up, Julio, because I was trying to read them. We had one resident who came into compliance by a certain time frame, but then fire department said that they weren't and revoked the permit. Could you just explain what happened here?
No, so good evening, council. Just to clarify this issue for
Please.
Keith. Essentially, we brought a case forward for work that was done without a permit. The property owners applied for a permit after the fact. At one point, the permit was issued. However, the building department later on rescinded the issuance because they believed the fire department should have reviewed the permit. Since that permit was rescinded and they technically did not have a permit, we brought it to the magistrate. They were found in violation and they were given, the fine was imposed. It was later on determined by the building department that the fire department, in fact, did not have to review that permit, and the permit was later issued. This was after the magistrate had already reviewed the case and ruled on it. So therefore, we had a lien that accrued for maybe a couple of months before it was determined that the building department, should have issued the permit and rescinded it in error.
So in this case, although we normally, for good cause shown, can only grant 30%, as you all know, this case is one that it seemed like the town was at error, and therefore I'm asking for the rescission of the fine and putting it into compliance as of the date that the permit was issued and should have stayed issued. And I want to bring that up and just make sure I have general consent for that.
I'm in agreement.
100%.
All right, so Julio, that's how we can respond to that one.
Right, and just for the record, the reason we found out about this is it seems they're either trying to sell or refinance the property. So this came, to our attention through a lien search.
Okay. The second issue that also occurred this week is a little bit different. A couple was getting a divorce, and the judge told the husband, I think it was the husband, that he was not allowed to bring the property, to do what he needed to the house to bring the property into compliance. Okay. Property remained out of compliance. It's not a problem. Everyone agrees that the property was out of compliance. It's a court order. There's nothing that we could have done about it. The issue came is that it's out of compliance for a very, very long time. Julio, like literally how many days was that out of compliance for? Roughly.
It was over 1,000 days.
Okay. Out of compliance.
1,000 days.
While the property owner who's selling finally now understands that their lien is $300,000, $400,000, which, we've agreed to give the 30%. What they're more upset about is the fact that the statutory interest added on another $100,000 or some,
A little over 200.
200,000 in statutory interest, which is not the fine amount. It's just the amount because it hasn't been paid on time. although not normal, I would ask that you all on this occasion waive the statutory interest but collect the fine as some equitable fairness here based upon what transpired. And I think Julio agreed with that, but it would need your consent to proceed in that manner.
Yeah, I don't personally, I want to hear from everybody, but I personally don't have a problem with that. I mean, I would not be in favor of waiving the whole
No,
thing
no, we're not.
because I mean, there were still other people that had to deal with whatever this violation was for a very long, over 1,000 days. So
Even with the statutory interest waived, I think it's what, $300,000?
Just around 300,000.
yes, I'm fine with it.
I'm ready with waiving the interest.
Likewise.
Okay,
I
fine.
think we're good.
With that, Julio, let's proceed in that manner. Okay.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Council.
Thank you.
The last thing that was briefly discussed, and Russell probably is going to speak about it more, but I want to touch on it because he's after me, is the property tax reform. Everyone knows that tomorrow is budget, okay? Then everyone gets sent home and then comes back on Monday for the special session on property tax reform. It's interesting, every time the legislature disbands and comes back, it costs our taxpayers $2 million. So, you know, even the fact that they did it this way and talking about reform, you have to scratch your head.
They want to save money.
You know, exactly. The current proposal, to make it as simple as possible, is that next year it would be $150,000 on the homestead. The year after that, it would be $250,000 on the homestead. And then after that, it would continue until the legislature finally disbanded all property tax altogether, which is what the proposal says. There's caps on commercial. It can only go up 5% a year. There's going to be more grants that the legislature offers. But more interestingly is that the legislature now believes that it's their duty to define what a municipality can and can't use their tax money on. So things like the wonderful Memorial Day celebration will no longer be permitted by municipality. 4th of July celebrations no longer permitted by municipality, because you will be capped to 5, I think it was 4 or 5 main things that you can spend the money on, which was infrastructure, police, fire, you know, and a couple other things. Yeah. In addition to that, the property tax reform also includes, you know, the county. It includes schools. Interestingly, we are 50th in the nation in terms of funding for school. So I guess you can't get much lower than that anyway. So, you know, as a result, they're taking money from schools as well. Russell will explain or Emil will explain the impact that the current legislation has on the town. But it's interesting to note that Hollywood came out with its $150,000 projection today, and they are losing in tax revenue $25 million, which is essentially our budget. So I thought that just shows the direct impact to one of our larger, you know, municipalities and one of our larger neighbors. Everyone believes that when it's on the ballot in November, it's going to pass by 80-something%, because it's hard not to.
Sure.
When a general resident sees, oh, I'm going to save $7,000 a year or whatever I'm going to save. It looks, you know, amazing, but no one understands the net impact to the municipality. And that's why, you know, any funding that any municipality does now really has to stop to see where this winds up before making concrete decisions. Sorry. Yes.
2 things. I remembered my question, but more importantly, I mean, everybody knows the impact. Tallahassee knows what this is going to do to us, and they're going forward on it. I really believe we got to communicate this somehow so people start to realize everybody I talk to is in favor of it, until I say, what about? Oh, I didn't know that. That's the answer every time. There's nothing that's free. You know, there's no free lunch. So if we're going to cut our taxes by whatever it ends up being, it's that much more service that we're going to have to ratchet down.
And to that end, you're correct. I think that most residents don't appreciate that their garbage gets picked up, you know, twice a week, and you know that they have other services, and we have more minimal ones than most municipalities who care for the elderly and do other things that are all prohibited under the new act. So it's something worthwhile to look at. I spoke to both of our legislators yesterday. I spoke to Barbara Sharif and Robin Bartleman. They're both, shocked by the
course.
proposals, and both will advocate our position, clearly, that the impact is, going to be enormous to all. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Russ.
Well, just
Keith.
real quick, Keith,
Yeah.
I had my second question that I didn't recall earlier, and it has to do with the notice to appear. When I did the Davie Citizens Police Academy, I actually got a chance to meet the legal advisor to the police department twice. And I asked him about this because I think we had just started to have our issues with it. I don't understand how he can advise them to not follow our law, since we contract with them to apply our laws.
More so, I don't understand how he could advise them to follow the Florida statute, which says that a violation of a municipal ordinance can be cited under a notice to appear. It's right in the Florida statute, and the town has done it for years. Wayside stands, parties in the past,
Sure.
Horse abuse, other animal abuse have all been cited that way. And all of a sudden, for a fear factor, they have changed, the way that they handle it. And as a result, we have no ability to really enforce our codes the proper manner.
So, Russell, can you, I can't think of the gentleman's name who's the legal advisor, but
Greg
can you sit
Rossman.
down? Sorry?
Greg Rossman.
Yeah, Greg. Can you sit down with him, with Keith, with the chief, perhaps the mayor, and
Yeah.
try to come to terms with this? Because
Councilmember, let me just.
I want a discount.
Yeah, no, well, let me just add to the conversation. I want to clarify
Please.
something that Keith has said, and I don't ever want to, quarrel with Keith about legal items. He's the legal advisor, legal expert. But I want to clarify something that he said. He said that, that for fear on part of Davie PD. I don't personally agree with that. I think that I have had conversations with the chief of police, the assistant chief of police. I have had conversations with their legal advisor. Their position is that there are certain misdemeanor exceptions that are prescribed in Florida law, criminal law, that say that they have to witness certain things in order to issue an NTA. So they can't issue an NTA on something that they don't personally witness. So fireworks being set off doesn't rise to that misdemeanor exception. They would have to witness it in person. There are certain thresholds that have to be met before an NTA can be issued. They're not telling me that they're not issuing an NTA on everything or on certain things. There's certain things that they have to witness in person. There's certain things that have to rise to a certain threshold. What I have said to the Councilmember Kaczynski, and I have said to Keith previously, is that we're investigating these issues. We will continue to meet with Davie PD. I would be happy to invite them to a future meeting to discuss that here in a public forum as to the concerns about issuing an NTA, when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate, so we can get to the heart of the matter.
And this is where I'd quarrel. To see a firework, you look in the sky. To see a party, you go in a backyard. It's not rocket science.
No.
Well, no.
I haven't been complaining
But they have
about
to be
it, but
present to see it.
Through the last couple of months, I'm hearing parties pretty much every Saturday night. And fireworks sometimes are an attribute of them. I haven't called Davie or anybody else on it, but my neighbors probably aren't too happy either, the closer they are to them. It's a couple of houses that are doing it. So love to get resolution.
Russell, with the issue that you presented, that the officer must see the violation, is it firsthand or could it be a video recording?
It has to be, from what I've been told, and again, I'm not a police officer. I'm relying on what the chief of police is telling me. They have to witness it in firsthand. They have to see it. It can't be a cell phone video that they've been presented. It can't be an account from someone else. They have to witness it firsthand.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
which I think is a challenge with the fireworks, because normally that's already. However, I don't think it's a challenge in most cases with the parties and the sound and things like that. I think they can witness that, and I do think we should have a meeting with them and stress that we would like them to take a stronger stance. Me personally, I think we need some way for them to know whether this is a first offense or if this is a repeat offense, because if it's a first offense, I'm not for doing a notice to appear on the first offense. Yeah, but if it's a repeater, I go for it.
I agree.
Understood.
Mr. Mayor, I agree 100%.
Mayor, I got a quick question. Keith, you mentioned that the town can't pay for something like we had for veterans. If it's privately funded, if we
Private funded
get
is no issue.
okay, they give the money to the town?
No issue.
Okay.
As long as it's donations for that event, it's not taxpayer dollars.
Thank you.
The issue is on taxpayer dollars.
All right, great, thanks. All right, any administrative comments this evening? Any additional administrative comments this evening?
Yeah, just briefly, as Keith alluded to, the property tax reform issue, obviously it's been on the, it's the impending cloud, right? And
Right.
so we have been taking steps for the past several months to kind of look at these different proposals that have been advanced or been discussed. And we are working on a public education campaign. We have to be careful that we can't be seen as advocating against anything, but certainly we want to arm our residents with the correct information so they can make an informed decision. And we're working on that. We're working on a public outreach social media campaign that will address those issues as well as some of the things that have been raised. We have done some preliminary calculations on what the financial implications might be. We don't know what's ultimately going to be approved. It could be some variation of all of these different proposals that are discussed, but just going based on the two numbers that we have calculated thus far, $250,000 exemption would equate to approximately a $1.5 million hit to our budget. And if, obviously, if it's 500,000, you just double the number, $3 million of a $25 million general fund budget. I mean, that's a quite significant amount of money. And the only way that you're going to recoup that or to be able to deal with something like that is a severe reduction in services and possibly could run the gamut from services to personnel. I mean, those are all council policy decisions that you'll have to make, but it will really severely impact the quality of services that we provide to our residents.
Yeah, it's going to impact us. I would say this, you may want to just touch base with the League of Women Voters. I think they are also putting together an information educational packet on it as well.
Yeah, we're collaborating also with the Florida League of Cities, the Broward League of Cities, and also the Florida City County Managers Association. So it's a concerted effort to get the information out there and show everyone what this would do to our cities. And not just, here in Broward County, but even, some of the rural towns you think about it out
It's even
all throughout
harder
the
on them.
state. It's going to really impact them when they don't have the diversification of their tax base to really contend with something like this. So
Right.
it's really going to impact them. On another note, I do want to also take a moment to thank the council and in particular Jim Albritton for the vision of coming forward with the Memorial Day event. It was a spectacular event. I was proud to have been a part of that and be there. But all the accolades need to not to go to me, but really to December, her staff, Susan Cutts, who helped out, and everybody else who helped make this a possibility. It was truly a great event to be part of, and especially the first time doing it, the way as good as it turned out, I was really proud of everybody's efforts on that. So I wanted to say thank you for that. Also, I just want to take a moment again to thank, first of all, council for your support and allowing me to take the time that I took recently and be away from the office for the amount of time that I was away, and to have your support in doing so really means a lot to me. And in particular, I want to thank Catherine and the staff for keeping the ball rolling and basically, I was able to enjoy my time away and not be, bombarded with issues that she was able to handle. So thanks again, Catherine and staff. So that's essentially all I have. I did hear the council members' comments related to the side-by-sides. I have some ideas of how we can combat that, including potentially looking at some state legislation to maybe make parents a little bit more responsible for underage kids driving these things. I think there's some opportunities for us to look at. And also certainly my discussions with Davie PD about enforcing, having off-road vehicles driving on city streets without licenses and license plates, and seeing what we can do about contending with that issue. So we'll be pursuing that as well.
Great.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Russell. All right. So let's move on to item number 9. If you please read that into the record.
Item number 9 is an ordinance of the town of the Southwest Ranches, Florida, rezoning approximately 59 acres from A1 Agricultural Estate District to US Highway 27 Planned Business District, generally located on the east side of Highway 27, between the C11 Canal to the north, Sterling Road to the south, and Menorah Garden Cemetery to the east, providing for conflict and providing for an effective date.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this. I do want to just say a couple words about it. This has been a journey. This item 9, 10, and 11 has truly been a journey.
10 plus years?
Yeah, it has been 10 plus years. And there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of back and forth, created a whole new zoning for it. And because we recognize that this is a different part of our town, different than any other part. I want to recognize the Bergeron family here, Alligator Ron, who's here, and just recognize them for all their work. And you know, we've battled it out a little bit, but I think we've come up with a good product that serves the town very well, and hopefully serves the Bergeron family very well as well. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to taking this next big step forward, and then seeing the imagination of the Bergeron family at work and see what they come up with to go out there. I'm sure it will be a quality project, and maybe help us make up for some of this tax revenue that we're going to lose. So I fully support this item and the next two that are coming up, and look forward to moving forward. Any other comments from the council on this item? Any public comment on this item? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 10, please.
Item 10 is an ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, amending the future land use map of the Town of Southwest Ranches comprehensive plan by changing the designation of approximately 59 acres from agricultural to U.S. Highway 27 business, generally located on the east side of U.S. Highway 27 between the C11 Canal to the north, Sterling Road to the south, and Menorah Gardens Cemetery to the east, providing for transmittal to the Broward County Planning Council and State Land Planning Agency, requesting recertification by the Broward County Planning Council, and providing for an effective date.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on this item. Is there any discussion on this item from the council? Seeing none, any public discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. Item number 11, please.
Item 11 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, consenting to the City of Pembroke Pines, providing water and sewer services to folio numbers 503-934-010420, 0430-0431, 0570, 0340, 0160, 0210, 0220, 0020, 0100, and 0170. And I can reread them if I need to for the record.
Yeah. I think we need to do some kind of reference there, because some were left out and some were, but as referenced in the, I don't know, Keith, can we just do the reference? Okay. Keith nodded yes, we're in good shape.
We're good. Along US 27 real property lying within the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, providing that no further expansion of service shall be permitted without the explicit written consent of the town, providing for a certified copy of this resolution to be furnished to the City of Pembroke Pines, and providing for an effective date.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on this item. Is there any discussion from the council on this item? Seeing none, any public discussion on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. Congratulations, and thank you for the partnership. We appreciate it. All right, item number 12.
Item 12 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving an interlocal agreement with Broward County for joint participation in the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to execute the interlocal agreement and providing for an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second on this item. I wonder if we can just give a quick explanation on this item, because I don't think this one is self-explanatory.
And also, what was amended, what was changed from the original?
Which item is this? I'm sorry.
This is item number 12.
This is an interlocal agreement with Broward County to be part of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, which is an EPA required program. Broward County is the lead agency on this, as required by the EPA. We're a co-permittee along with 26 other municipalities. there's a cycle that goes on, and I think we're nearing the end of our current cycle. So this allows us to be part of that interlocal agreement going forward.
Great.
There's an annual permit fee that's associated with this as well. It's about $3,000 on average. It's a little under that the first year, but it goes up over the 5 years to just over 3,000. So on average.
Great.
Rod is here. If you have any specific questions about what the EMPDS program is, I can bring them up if you have specific questions.
Okay. Any further questions? Are we good?
What changed from the version that originally came out on this, Russell?
Why is it amended?
I would have to defer to Deborah. I'm not sure what changed in that. Deborah, do you have what that change in the backup was?
Oh, the change in the backup for item number 12 was all of the,
Oh, I know.
it had
what-
all the
that's-
municipalities in there,
We just took them out.
and I just removed them all out.
Okay.
So, and just left our municipality in.
Yeah, the signature pages, I'm sorry, I didn't know about this one. The signature pages for all 26 municipalities were included, and they just took it out.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's all it was.
Thank you.
Great. Any further questions, discussion on this item from the council? Seeing none, any public discussion on the item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Albritton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very
Mr.
good.
Mayor,
Item
you wanna
number
make this
13,
motion?
please. What is it?
This is important for you. You want to make that motion?
Gimme.
Oh,
You can
The
pass
restrictive,
the
the restrictive covenant.
to click what?
You can
Yeah,
pass
so
the
this is, thank you.
Right.
Thank you, David. Yeah, so this is the property associated with this is the property that school board owns. They bought it from us back in like 2006. And we're now a portion, the lower portion is, the southern portion is going to be used by the South Florida Wildlife Center. And then this is the northern portion. In our agreement with the school board, what we said was that if they would be amenable to giving South Florida Wildlife Center the southern portion, then we would release the restriction on the northern portion so that it could then be rezoned from an educational use, community facilities, to residential, so that they could eventually put homes. They could sell it to a developer to put in homes. Obviously, we would still continue to put our zoning on there so that it was minimal of 1 acre, but really this is going to be at least 2 acre properties
Thank you.
here.
Thank
That's what it's going to be.
Thank you.
That
So
was my next question.
yeah, that's what it's going
Mayor.
to be. Good. Yeah.
If we could read it into the record, and then I'll also explain the change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, releasing the restrictive covenant on the northern approximately 20.59 gross acres of land generally located off Sheridan Street between Southwest 185th Way and Southwest 190th Avenue that restricts the parcel to public school educational facilities, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to execute the release and other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the intent of this resolution and providing for an effective date.
We have a
Motion to approve.
Oh, I'll make.
Make it. No, I didn't finish my sentence. It's unofficial.
Item 14.
That's the adjournment. I guess we're done.
Meeting over.
Sorry, jumping ahead.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
So
Second.
thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hartman, so the only change in this one, there were actually 2 changes. The school board prepared the release form that they wanted. And again, as the mayor mentioned, the upper portion of the property is being released of a deed restriction that requires it to be a school. The portion that's closest to Sheridan Street is remaining encumbered as educational. South Florida Wildlife is educational, so it fits within that requirement. The school board drafted the exhibit that they wanted, but of course, when I looked at it, and we just got it late, they were trying to get out of the deed restriction on the entire property. And I said, no, it's only above that line. So they rewrote it. They rewrote it and sent it to us like 2 days ago. And then Deborah noticed properly that because Catherine was in Russell's stead, that they listed her as deputy town attorney to sign it. And so as a result, the school board
Is
has.
that a promotion or not? I don't know.
I think it's a demotion in Southwest Ranches. It's a promotion elsewhere. But as a result of that, they sent us a new version today that just fixed the signature line. There's no changes to this document other than that.
Great. Thank you,
just,
Keith.
Just as a question, they're going to retain ownership of the property in perpetuity on the South Florida Wildlife Rescue Center.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Just that
And-
portion.
And it'll have to be a school if they ever throw them out for any reason. And right, right. Good. Thank you.
Very good work.
Yep. Great. Any additional comments from the council? Seeing none. Public comment.
I'm not sure if that's
Microphone.
Yeah, I don't think it's on.
Do it.
I don't think it's.
Had to do it.
We're all having problems tonight, Newell. Don't feel bad.
To do it.
Want to use mine?
Sorry, Neil, your time's up.
Yeah. Say in the interest of time. I don't use it right. So
In the interest of time, Newell Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. You mentioned 1 acre and then you mentioned 2 acres. Which one's it going to be?
Well, it's, it'll be what it is when we get there, but I think there's unanimity
Well,
between us all that it's going to be 2
What's
acres.
underlying it right now?
Two. Well, it's not that zoning.
Mayor,
So
it's
we-
the
It moved.
proper, I just want to clarify, it's the proper land use for 2 acres.
Land use for 2 acres.
So it
Okay,
is
there you
2
go.
acres.
Thank you.
Your mic works now.
This thing works so well for you, Newell. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
All right. Any other public comment? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hartman,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaczynski.
Yes.
Councilmember Albritton.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jablonski.
Yes.
And Mayor Bright Cruz.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Thank you all for coming out. Have a great evening.